Trying to look up this Totally Lost card. If it's so adorable, I should know what it does.
Yeah, it's right here. Blue and 4. It's got the little doorkeeper. He's not hanging from a door anymore. He's lost in the middle of the city in the middle of a bunch of people. Poor little guy. Shouldn't have done that. He's just a boy.
I love that effect. What's the flashbacking one in Innistrad was just one of my favorite draft cards. As we're going to see our first spell
There's the
played.
True Fire Paladin. There he is. Right on time.
Decent card. True Fire Paladin.
Get a good look at everybody's hand.
Yeah, and Nate seems like he's not a big fan of what's going on his side of the board. Usually when you're showing the camera.
Unblockable
Crassus.
That means.
Yep.
Yeah.
Elusive Crosses. He's a 0/4 that... Oh, there's that one forest in the deck. True Fire Paladin says I get there. He's just so good. Post-combat, that's going to be the Ember Beast, I believe. 3/4, can't attack or block alone.
It does look like that. That's the guy here. Oh, we need to update the names.
Schiller's on the left, Lee is on the right.
And we saw an attack for 2 last turn, so that should be
True Fire
Nate
Paladin
Schiller
got in there for 2.
Oh, I see a Madcap Skills in Mr. Lee's hand there.
See that? Mad Skills going to get there. On that True Fire Paladin,
Yeah.
that's a beatdown right there.
Little life swing advantage there.
Absolutely.
Would you put it on the Paladin or on the well, you have to put it on the Paladin because you can give him first strike.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, you can't put it on the Beast if they kill the Beast somehow. Or kill your True Fire Paladin somehow, your Beast is just dead there, sitting there.
I do like the thought of putting it on the worst creature you have on the board, just because it forces the removal spell to go to the less valuable guy. It forces them to kill that. It
spreads your damage around.
Was that possibly 2 Madcap Skills?
It looks like a second Madcap Skills.
Only one in his deck.
Oh, okay. Well, that's definitely a Madcap Skills in the middle there.
We certainly have one.
Yeah. There's something else with red background on it I can't really make out. Hasn't played a land yet. Looks like he's pulling Mad Skills to the front there. Nope. Plays the land and brings the Madcap Skills back to the front again.
Probably couldn't get a red mana into another, red mana, so that way he could also Madcap Skills plus first strike.
Right.
Makes quite a big difference here. Just lays down the Scorchwalker.
Yeah.
Not typically a card. We've seen that played out of hand a lot today. No, it was Blood Rush before.
Yeah, it was Blood Rush before.
Evan also has a Boros Charm in his deck.
Which maybe he's holding out for
10 damaging somebody.
Big one-turn kill you swing.
I love one-turn kill you swings.
There's the Ivy Denizen. Yep. Pumps up that unblockable Crassus. Pumps up the Clinging Anemones. Say that one again, too. Clinging Anemone. What do you do when your enemy plays an anemone? Alright. I don't know what the draw was there. He keeps looking at that Madcap Skills over and over and over again. When's the right time? It's always the right time for Madcap Skills.
What's the toughness add on that elusive? On both of those evolved guys.
Yeah,
2/6.
They're both 2/6s right now.
Okay. Well.
So True Fire Paladin is like, hey, that forest needs to be another mountain, and we could go to town here. He's just gonna play the
Warmind Infantry.
Warmind Infantry, yeah.
Really, really strong card for the Boros decks.
Absolutely.
Increasing the power to 4 really does a bunch of damage here, but I mean, Nate Schiller's just defensive team. Very, very overwhelming right now.
With bunch of guys with big butts.
An experiment one that's going to get bigger and bigger. And now the Denizen is pumping up creatures for him as well.
Yep.
And another Denizen trigger here as... Oh, I used to know the name of that card.
Plays the Anemone.
Adaptive Snapjaw. So that is the 6/2 evolved creature.
Yeah, that guy can get pretty nasty in a hurry as well.
And he grew 3 other guys on the way into the board. So this is the first time we're really seeing a synergistic draw here from a Simic deck today.
And the Ivy Denizen also popped another token on too. It almost might be time to go to town with that Crassus there. He's getting to be a 4. He's a 4/8 unblockable.
And there it goes.
4/8 unblockable gets in.
All right, so it's going to drop Evan Lee down to 16.
Looks like defense turned to offense pretty fast. One card left. It is Hydroform, I believe, in Schiller's hand. I believe that's Hydroform. Turns your land into a dude.
Certainly what it looked
Looks like Madcap Skills, Angelic, Angelic Edict. I can't tell what that front card is. It's a Boros card. It is. Liam says it's the Guild Mage.
It certainly looks like the Guild Mage.
It does look like the Guild Mage. I don't know what the bottom card is. Might be Skullcrack. Does he have Skullcrack on his list? He does not. It could be, what is it, Scorchwalker maybe? No. Scorchwalker's down.
Legion Loyalist in Evan Lee's deck would
Yeah.
be a pretty big, well, I guess the toughness in these guys being what it is.
Yeah, but it would allow him to attack better.
He's,
There's the Madcap Skills. A couple turns later than we thought it would be played, right?
even if I wasn't going to get to attack with it right away, I do
still
feel
put
as
it
though I
down
would
there.
have played it.
Yeah.
It's got to be important. I would imagine I've yet to play with or really against. I played one match against Simic at the pre-releases, but I have to imagine it's important to make one-for-one trades against that deck and keep them from really just overrunning you.
Yeah.
With progressively growing creatures.
Yeah, and even Experiment 1, who's probably the weakest dude on Schiller's board right now, can get ridiculous very fast, especially with the Denizen on board. So there's a Hydroform, and I don't know what the second card is. Looks like the Crassus is just going to smash in for 4. He's unblockable. There's a land and a Hydroform in hand. So he's going to hold back the land. Obviously, he's at 6 mana. He doesn't really need another one. There's that
Are we sure it
second
wasn't a Biomass Mutation? Is that in his deck, Biomass Mutation?
It is not.
Oh, he's got 2 Hydroforms in his
Yeah,
deck.
2
so
Hydroforms in his deck.
That's pretty much what it is.
So he hit the second red mana there. That makes that True Fire Paladin a little bit more of a threat. Not the huge threat he needed it to be early in this game, though. You gotta wonder when he's gonna Edict something. He just hit his 5th mana. You gotta wonder if he's gonna do it this turn to get rid of that Crassus. His spirit. Yeah.
So Nate obviously being very generous to us streamers as he's showing us the cards in his hand here.
Yeah. And looks like Edict hits the Crassus, which is probably the best thing you could have done with the Angelic Edict there. Getting forward 3 turns in a row to lose the game would have ensued. Just a pass here, no combat. Just a draw go from the Simic deck.
There are now 2 activations of the Sunhome Enforcer on the board. I'm sorry, the True Fire Paladin on board for Evan Lee now. There is still a second True Fire Paladin in his deck. Evan really appears to have gotten the better of the Boros pools from what I can see.
It looks like a pretty strong deck. At this point, I kind of think he might have been wishing he had that
Another Ember
Blood
Beast.
Rush back in his hand. Another Ember Beast. I don't know what that extra... I believe he played another creature.
He just cast Ember Beast number 2. He's got a Scorchwalker, Warmind Infantry. Or do you think up above?
I think he played one up above there.
There you go.
I'll take a peek.
Yeah, show him where the line is, so that way we can make sure we keep stuff on cam. He's got to come below the infantry. He's not going to be able to squeeze them all in one line. All right. So another experiment one, it looks like, for Mr. Schiller. As the Boros player's board gets so expansive that we're running out of room a little bit here.
It's Sunhome.
Yeah, it was the Guild Mage that we committed to the board.
Guildmage just for more shenanigans. Maybe start making a bunch of 1/1 chump blockers every turn. In response, I'll make a haste guy that's not going to do anything to your board.
Alright, and he just passes the turn back, and I don't want anybody to freak out. I'm going to ask Leland to pass his hand directly underneath the camera. Go put your hand underneath the camera and get it to refocus. I want to see if that maybe makes the image a little sharper. I feel like sometimes the wall moves a little bit when we shut the door, and yeah, looks maybe a little crisper.
A little better.
Anyways. People got to start walking a lot lighter through that doorway. I think it shakes the camera and fuzzes it out a little sometimes. Could be wrong. But anyways, we're starting to look at quite the stalemated board here.
Starting to look like Avison Restored Limited. I've got 15 dudes, you've got 15 dudes. Who gets to punch through one time to win the game?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I can't imagine that Scorchwalker's best purpose is to be on the board right now.
I imagine it with True Fire Paladin would be bananas, especially with the
it
Madcap skills on it. Can you imagine that turn and give it first strike?
Right. The only thing I see with that is that he doesn't have enough money to give it to activate to Blood Rush and then activate to give first strike.
Right.
And without first strike, that's going to be a pretty bad exchange for him.
Absolutely. He still gets 2 for 2 creatures. I guess it's 2 for 2, 2 for 3 at that point.
But how big's that experiment one?
Right.
You kind of got to start to ask yourself those questions.
Your experiments start to get big. Even the clinging anemone is getting huge.
I was a little surprised that we haven't seen any extra counters being placed on the Adaptive Snapjaw yet. He has not played anything that would have been a viable candidate.
I'll get that out.
He's moving it down.
All right, yeah, I think we're going to be okay.
I think our judge is on top of that. That looks like the Shamble Shark. Looks like a Shamble Shark. 2/1. 2/1 flash. Played during his own turn, which I guess that's a thing. If you want to pump your guy before you attack with it, maybe you give the triggers from the Ivy Court Denizen.
So actually, it looks like he flashed it. Oh, it was another Adapt. No, okay, he just moved the Adaptive Snapjaw up.
Yeah.
Actually, looks like maybe he's blocking the Paladin here, doesn't it?
Yeah, that may have been just in response and to block the Paladin.
So I'm kind of blanking here on what the Red-White Guildmage does. Is there an effect there that's going to help him benefit from this combat more? Well, it looks like we're blood rushing. He has a Rubble Hulk in his deck. And he certainly tapped the green, so I'm pretty sure he just blood rushed a Rubble Hulk, which was +5/+5, and now he gives it first strike. That absolutely was Rubble Hulk. So a very profitable attack here. Kills both guys?
No, just one. You can regen the experiment one.
Okay.
Experiment one's going to dump the 2 counters to regen, but it did in fact kill both guys.
Yes.
But he made that experiment shrink up quite quickly. That was a good trade there. Maybe it's worth splashing that one for us for that Rubble Hulk.
It just paid dividends for him right there. So that's going to be your
Cloudfin Raptor is super late to the game.
That was kind of in my research going into the pre-release. It was interesting to me to see how people evaluated that card because the whole deck as a whole can just fall apart if you draw things in the wrong order.
Absolutely.
And that's not the case here. He clearly drew things in the right order, hence his board's that big. There's, it took Blood Rushed Rubble Hulk on a
on a first strike guy with some madcap skills to deal with 2 guys. Absolutely.
So,
but sometimes the Simic deck, if you draw it in the wrong order, just doesn't do much.
Yeah.
So it's a concern for Simic players. But this deck looks like it's got a pretty low curve. It looks like he's kept a lot of guys that are 1, 2, and 3 drops in his deck, which might be the right way to play Simic too. Maybe that's what Demir wants. Demir and Simic both want to be playing guys that are under 4 on your curve.
So I'm curious. The Rubble Hulk gives trample?
XX, I believe. No trample.
Okay. No trample.
XX equal the number of your lands.
Because I really wanted him to Boros Charm it instead of pay for first strike. But if it doesn't give trample, that would just commit an extra card to do the exact same thing.
Double strike and trample seems ridiculous. We're going to get the trigger, battalion trigger, on the Warmind.
I dropped their resolution a ton.
And
Took down the screen between rounds, dropped the resolution. Now
we'll see
people
what
say
what
the
blocks
maps look green,
are
which
happening.
they apparently didn't look like before. So it's
Well, this is what people see on this one. That's why we have this up.
right. It's also on there. That monitor looks freakishly good. I did some tinkering with settings. Like the CRT monitor has no business being the one that actually looks good. I told all our listeners to go pull their CRTs out of their basement if they want to see. But
That sucks. Do you think that's why we dropped down to 90? Or
we fluctuated a little,
yeah.
but between every round you lose people, they go to the SCG. That ends and then they come back.
Oh,
So
no.
that's pretty much what's happening. Yeah.
Looks like we've got the Snapjaw blocking one of the beasts, the Ember Beasts. We've got
So a Hydroform turned the land into a 3/3,
right,
and that's going to trade with a 4/3 Warmind Infantry.
right. Snapjaw's gonna trade with Ember Beast. He's got two, the Shamble Shark and the Denizen in front of the
Did
other
Experiment
Ember Beast.
one?
He tries.
Okay,
oh,
I'm
okay,
sorry,
I was gonna
okay.
say he was gonna try to block
I was
with
just gotta
Madcap
do
skills,
two.
but you can't get there. It just doesn't work. Dem's the rules.
Did you hear we locked ourselves out of this room? Yeah. Tondo pulled the door closed behind him.
All right, so we're activating
But people are in here first.
activating Paladin. Oh no, activating the Guild Mage.
Yep, and I'm still actively searching out the Guild Mage here. Got distracted, letting John know that we changed the settings a little bit here. As Sora XL is no longer with us today, had to get to work, but we continue on. And yeah, the Guild Mage does 3 mana. Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. 4 mana, put a 1/1 haster into play.
Okay, so I'm guessing he did the +1 and wiped the board very clean.
Yeah, Texas, that's the exact thing I have in front of me. Just a little less space to spread out. I made John open up a fat pack for me
Just so
I'm
we
like,
could check it out.
I'm like, I've done 2 sealed events. I didn't know what you were talking about when you posted them. I apologize. And then as soon as I pulled it up, I'm like, oh, well, that explains it. But here we go, a significantly smaller board now after
Absolutely.
some trades.
Absolutely.
Really looks like just Evan is running away with this game at this point.
Makes a 1/1 hasty soldier at the end of turn.
Just getting added value out of those Guild Mages, which are just value machines. Another Ember Beast in hand for Evan.
He's got the 6/5 red creature lizard.
All right, and he's going to attack for 3.
It looks like he's coming in with the Paladin as well, so
Yes. I'm sure that guy's just always going to be attacking.
puts in the XX.
Scoops him up.
Looks like a
Not
scoopy.
enough. Not enough. Okay. Well, game 1's going to go to Evan Lee, and Nate Schiller's got some work to do, really with probably the most...
To be honest, I think he's the underdog in this matchup. I'm cheering for him a little bit because I want to see it get there, but I just don't know that he has the goods. Simic, you know,